Okay, so general form of a line looks like this, where it would be ax plus by plus c equals 0. So I'm going to show you two methods. Method 1 is just using algebra to turn it into yesterday's form. Method 2 is that there are these formulas, and they would be provided for you on a formula sheet. If you like to use them, you can do that. Okay, so number 1, here we go. Let's try to turn it into y equals mx plus b. So this is what I would do. So this y term, I'm going to keep it. So 7y I'm going to keep. Equals. Now, I'm going to subtract that, right, to move it to the other side. Would that make sense? So negative 2x is now over there. And this is going to have to move to the other side as well, so it would change. Plus 21. Okay, so keep y stuff, move everything else away. Then to get y alone, again, remember, if you're going to give candy to one person, you're going to have to give it to everybody. So everything's going to get divided by 7. So now that looks like yesterday's equation. So we know slope, rise, run, and we know the y-intercept. Okay, if we were to use the formulas, this is how it would work. Negative a means to take the opposite. So if my a in this would be a positive 2, I would go negative 2 divided by the b. So the b is 7. And look at that matched. And then the y-intercept is to take the opposite of c. So our c is negative 21. So the opposite would be positive 21 over 7. Okay, so we got to the same thing. Okay, you can use the formulas. I'm going to lean more towards this algebra because it will never fail you. Algebra always works no matter what anything looks like. Okay, we are also going to check out the intercept method, just to show you that everything will connect and work. So y-intercept, x-intercept. So remember what the intercepts are. It's when you interchange the zeros. Make one of them 0 and you get the other one. Okay, so what if x was 0? What if x was 0? What would happen? Would you be okay if I just scratch that off of there? Algebra stuff means add the 21, divide. We have a y-intercept of 3. So all three methods, all of them, has showed us that your y-intercept is 3. So the x-intercept, so this time I'm going to put a 0 into the y spot. I'm going to cross that off. I'm going to have to add 21. And I'm going to have to divide This is not going to be a whole number. Does anybody know what this would be as a decimal without their calculator maybe? 10.5, yeah. Because 10 is 20, so a half. So the x-intercept would be 10.5. Okay, so let's see if all this information connects. You ready? So the first thing I'm going to do is that the y-intercept was 3. So I'm going to do that slope from yesterday. I'm going to go down to right 7. And that's my next point. Down to right 7. So that is the line that we have. I'm going to draw it, but I'm also going to do this. If your x-intercept is 10.5, which would be right there, does that also fit into our pattern? So that's pretty neat that it fit in there as well. So everything will always connect together. Okay, so we're going to do one more. So basically between these two methods, you can pick which style suits your brain. Doesn't matter to me what you're doing because it will work. Okay, there's the algebra and then there's straight up the formulas from a formula sheet. So you pick, I'm going to do both. Okay, you're going to pick which one you, don't do them both every time. Okay, so for me, I'm going to do algebra here, which means I'm going to keep the y stuff, but I have to make sure I keep it with a negative 3y. Moving the x stuff would be a negative 5x, because it had to move. If I move the 18, it would change. And now I would divide. And I divide everything. Okay, what happens in math when you divide two negative numbers? Positive. So I'm just going to go positive 5/3. And same thing here, two negatives, so positive 6. Okay, we're going to graph it already, because I already can graph it if I know. The y-intercept is 6. And this would say, go up 5, right 3. Up 5, right 3. Okay, just a little bit of a side note. What if somebody had left it like this? What if somebody had left it like that? What kind of movement would you do as a rise and a run if it looked like this? Down 5, left 3. So let's just pretend I'm going to have left it and I went down 5 and left 3. Is that also okay? Yeah, because look, it doesn't matter. It's still making the line that I want it to make. Okay, but this negative means down. This negative on the bottom would mean technically now left. Okay, using the formulas, let's just see if it came out to the same thing. So negative a, opposite of r's. So now I would write a negative 5. And then the b value is just negative 3. So that's really a positive. And look, that's match. That's what we had when we did our algebra. So again, you're picking whatever method you want, whatever's sticking into your brain better. Negative c. So what's the opposite of RC? So if we have 18, we're going to need a negative 18. And then the B number is negative 3. Okay, let's just, this is not expected in this, but it's just more practice. We're going to practice again with just x and y intercepts. And then let's just see, does it fit into our puzzle as well? So on an x-intercept, the y got wiped away. To algebra this, I would have to minus an 18 and then divide by 5, which is negative, for sure 3, right? It's 3 times 3.6. Would that make sense on your picture? Negative 3.6 makes sense on my picture? It would cross right about there. Yep, that totally makes sense. And then the y-intercept, means there's no x this time. So algebra, move, divide. That's always your algebra stuff, move, divide. Okay, so today's focus is general form, graphing. So basically you can just use algebra with moving and dividing, turn it into yesterday's mx plus b form. If you want, you can use these two formulas, and if you like them, they are on the test as well.